Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and I want to talk about events, comic book events. Anyway, the reason why I want to talk about comic book events is because, of course, Marvel has released their new event right after they ended the King in Black event that they're going to be doing Heroes Reborn, and of course, Heroes Reborn is another version of the Heroes Reborn relaunch that was starting in the 1990s, where they rebooted the some of the classical Marvel heroes to try to get a new audience member or whatever. And then, of course, now with Heroes Reborn, we're basically getting what if Marvel did DC comic book characters, and the only person from Marvel is Blade, who remembers everything. Other than that, that's really what it is. And the reason why I want to talk about it is because Marvel just released the King in Black event that just finished up being released. And there are comic book shops, finally speaking out, talking about like, hey, we've got more variant covers of Heroes Reborn than we do actual people making orders for the book. And that should say something, because everybody always want to be like, oh, these events sell or whatever. Obviously these events aren't selling that well, because there are way more events sitting on the shelf than there are sold. And the only reason why any of these events are being sold is because of the variant thing. But it's just like the only variant that's really selling is Power Princess, the one that Artgerm did, that looks like Wonder Woman, because that is supposed to be literally Marvel's version of Wonder Woman, and it looks beautiful. I wouldn't mind getting the cover or whatever and stuff like that, but at the same time, I don't want the book. I'd rather just get an official poster from Artgerm, to be honest. Like, why would I need a comic book cover of that? It's just kind of strange. Like, what are we doing, Marvel? And then you got other outlets calling it out. Like, it's the same nonsense with you, Marvel. You guys make an event, and as soon as you finish up that event, it was another one. And I thought you guys would have learned something, especially after Civil War 2, when that stupid Inhuman, that Ulysses, that we never talk about anyway, he sat up there and literally gave the Marvel the Marvel universe visions of events after events after events. And literally right after Civil War, literally a couple of weeks, they were already in another event. And then literally, as before that event wrapped up, they went into another event at the same time as wrapping that event up. When is enough, Marvel? Like, a matter of fact, not even just Marvel, comic books in general, we need to calm down with these events, because it's getting out of hand. Like, what's the whole purpose? You're interrupting people's runs. You're just doing these things to try to, you're trying to price up the variant covers to try to make back the people that you lost for the unnecessary event. Is event fatigue, to be honest. Like, how many more times are we gonna have an event that changed the status quo, relaunch the universe, just for us to go into another event that's supposed to be bigger and better than the last event? you know I'm confused on what you guys are confused about, because this just really doesn't make any logical sense anymore. It's getting annoying, it's getting tiresome, just to have event after event after event, and 9 times out of 10 the event turns out to be garbage or non-consequential to most of the universe at large. So what was the whole point of making the event then? At some point you need to realize some events can just be contained into one book. Or and here's another thing. Here's one idea, because I think we need to change the fundamentals of events. I understand you guys want to have an event. What can happen? Here's what we can do for events. You can have a prelude, you can have the main event itself, and then you can have an aftermath. Three books. This is what I'm saying. I'm literally labeling down to 3 books. There's no more floppies for events. When events come and and you want to do an event like for this upcoming event, Heroes Reborn, no, there's no number one issue of that. No, 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 no. Heroes Reborn, when it comes out, all of it's going to be coming out in one collection. That means that however many, if you got 12 issues for Heroes Reborn, I would say you can probably charge at least $30 to $40 tops, and then you can put a variant cover on it to push it to 50 maybe. That's about it. You can't go past $50. So you got between $10 and $50. That's your limit for the events itself. And then the precludes, you got $5 to $20. That's it. The aftermath is the same thing. You got $10 to $20. That's your max limit for how much you're going to charge your customers for these events. That means the preclude, the event, and the aftermath. Now, if you want to do a bundle where you get the preclude, the event, and the aftermath of that, then you can probably push it up to like $60 to $80 because at least you get all three events in one go. But what needs to happen is with Marvel, DC, whoever has major events, no more issue number one of the Perfect Crisis or something. Let's just use that as an example. The Perfect Crisis issue number one, or the Zero issue. No. There is no more issue number 1 to 12 or issue 1 to 6. When Perfect Crisis come out, Perfect Crisis, all 6 copies, all 6 issues are in that one book. It's in that one book. That means when Perfect Crisis come out, that's it. There is no, and the event will not cross over with a book. I'm sorry, that's just something you're gonna have to realize. Now, if the writer of Spider-Man or Flash or whatever, if they want their character to be tied into the event or whatever, let them make that choice. But if they're telling the story or whatever, and you want to do an event, if their character's not prominent enough in that event book, don't put them in there. You know what I'm saying? If Flash is dealing with his rogues gallery and Perfect Crisis happened, he shouldn't be the center of he shouldn't be the centerpiece of Perfect Crisis if in the issue that's running, the current volume that's running right now, he's facing off against all his rogues at once. It's impossible. So unless you pause the comic book itself, or you tie the comic book in, or you don't put Flash as a prominent character in Perfect Crisis. You know what I'm saying? I'm just spitballing the idea because I think that's what needs to happen. Events need to just be a graphic novel all to itself. That's it. One shot, done. There is no oh, let's do issue 1 to 6 or let's stretch it out or whatever and stuff like that. No. If you can't get the story within the 12 issues that are given, I mean within the story parameters that are given, don't do the event then or whatever. But breaking down each event into floppies is annoying. And then you're trying to charge $5 to $6 to $8 to $10 a pop for that. So you want me to spend $50 on 5 issues of the event itself, and the only reason why I'm paying extra prices is because of the variant covers that I got for it. But then when you collect it, it's still going to be that same price. I might as well have waited for the collector version of the book to come out in. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to find something. But these events need to calm down. Like, I thought we were going to take a break from these events. You know, you can, if you want an event or something like that. Matter of fact, you don't even have to have an event. You can do an arc. Like right now, My Hero Academia just finished their war arc or whatever. I don't know how many volumes I don't know how many volumes and chapters it lasted because I'm behind on the manga itself. I am like in the beginning of My Hero Academia and the manga itself or whatever. But I've been keeping up with the anime and stuff like that, where they had an entire war arc within that book. There was no the Great War Arc event as a separate manga piece. It was within that, and they dedicated the time and stuff for the war event to happen within the pages of My Hero Academia. Let's say that one of the events, let's say for instance with DC, no, we're going to talk about Marvel since it's really Marvel. Let's just say one of the events center mostly around Daredevil, right? Okay, then is it, if even if the event is big enough where it involves other people or whatever and stuff like that, why not just put it in just the Daredevil run instead of making a event issue? You get what I'm saying? So let's say it could be Daredevil War on New York or something like that. That could be the name of the arc or whatever. And let's say the hand comes or whatever and it captures some of the heroes or whatever from New York City, and the only person left is like Daredevil, the Defenders, Elektra, and some other characters or whatever. And now Matt has to lead the charge to stop the Hand and the Kingpin from taking over New York City or something like that. I don't know. I'm just spitballing an ideal or whatever. Why not just keep that event within the book of Daredevil? You know what I'm saying? So remember how when there were back in the day with comic books or whatever, not every character was in the event because things were going on in their books, so they couldn't possibly be in every event or whatever. Like let's take for example the death of Superman. Everybody was wondering how come Batman, Superman, some of the Justice League members weren't there during the time of Superman's death, why they didn't step in or whatever. But yet if you read the comic book, it will explain why these characters aren't there, because in their comic books they were going through their own thing at the same time Superman was dealing with his death of Superman. Like Death of Superman is a major event, but what it didn't do, it didn't shut down Wonder Woman, Batman, Aquaman, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter comic books or the Flash comic books. It let them do what they do and realize that they're not going to be in every comic book. It's the same thing with what's that other event, the 52 and countdown to countdown to the 52 or whatever, where there were characters that were the main events or whatever, but they were in other comic books. But in those comic books they will explain why that person wasn't in the comic book at the time, because they were in that event. You know, you have to have some kind of cohesion. You have to have some kind of universe thing. You can't keep interrupting people's comic books or whatever and stuff like that to be like, oh well, we need this character. Now if the character is supposed to be part of the event, you make sure the writer knows that ahead of time so they can start building the foundation for that book. So when their title does happen and it's their time to be in that book, it doesn't feel like it's dragging you in there. It's picking you up. It'll be a proper transition from one story arc to another story arc. Like I really used to hate where I remember, I think it was a Peter Parker Spider-Man story I was reading, right? And he was dealing with a villain or whatever, and literally because I had the collection, I had the book collected or whatever and stuff like that. The next comic book issue literally was, before he even finished off the villain from his previous arc, was literally him in the event that he was part of in one of the other events. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Why did you put this in the book anyway? And even then, why did this abruptly come in the middle, and then tried to go back after that event issue, pick up where that villain left off at, as if it was something cool or whatever. That's not cool. That's downright stupid. We need to come up with something better with these events, and these events aren't working anymore, and they're not working. People are not supporting these events like that. Marvel, DC, Image, Valid, all of them. You guys gotta calm down with events. I'm just going over overall the general comic books in general. It's just like all of these events, one after another, is crazy. Especially now, here's another crazy thing. How you gonna have, for instance, a Justice League event, right? Because I remember Scott Snyder's Justice League run. How you have a Justice League run where you literally had put Batman in a mobile chair or whatever because he was out of commission, but then over in Batman Detective comic books and 3 more other Batman related runs or whatever, he's fine or whatever and stuff like that. That doesn't make any sense. And what even makes it even more weirder is, at the same time that was happening, Batman the Batman books were going through their own crossover event at the same time, and you're just like, that makes no sense. How is he in the Justice League incapacitated, but then he's in Batman, Batgirl, Batwoman, Nightwing, All-Star Batman, Detective Comic Books, and y'all having a big crossover event with each other? Make that make sense, please. That don't make no logical sense. You guys going to have to calm down with the events, and you're going to have to tell the events in a good, proper storytelling. You can't just throw an event out there and then tell people to read it or whatever. I mean, you can, but at this point, the events are going to have to just be graphic novels from now on. They can't be floppies anymore. Like I said, you can only do 3 books. You can do a prelude, you can do the event itself, and you can do an aftermath. That's it. That's your 3 things that you can do if you want to do an event in comic books. If you can't do that, don't do any more events. Calm down with the events. The events are tiring. That's all I'm saying, because I'm getting real tired of events. Because you don't give me enough time to breathe or even get over the fact that something else done happen. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.